All right, live pictures of the White House, 7:40 Eastern, and multiple reports that the White House found out about the raid on former President Trump's office at Mar-a-Lago on Twitter. At least so far, the White House not wanting to say they had any heads up about an FBI raid this afternoon on Mar-a-Lago, the former president's office. According to multiple sources for different news outlets, the raid centered on 15 boxes of classified documents that had been taken by the former president when he left office and went to Mar-a-Lago, and that the FBI went to get those 15 boxes. Still don't know if there was a search warrant involved in this or not. The president, former president himself, sent out the note saying that this happened and that the FBI broke his safe, accused them of misconduct, and accused the rule of law in America to fully breaking down. Michael LaRosa, former deputy director for House Democratic Policy Comms and also recently of the Biden White House. Michael, just purely from a comms perspective, there's sort of nothing more incendiary than the FBI raiding a former president's office. Are you surprised by this sort of very ham-handed comms policy? No comment from the DOJ, not even a, hey, this is an ongoing investigation, blah, 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 just nothing set up?
No, I think that's actually the smart way to do it. I think it's the legal way to do it. I think we're all just used to the lack of transparency and the messiness from the last administration and the previous president using the Justice Department as a political tool, which is not. And that's exactly why he fired his first attorney general. Well, because he wasn't, because he was acting independently. And that's what the Justice Department is supposed to do.
No, Michael, come on. I'm completely lost here, though. You're saying that there shouldn't even be a comment from the DOJ when they raid a former president's house? This is an FBI that's been horribly tainted by charges of political favoritism.
Okay, well, first of all, it's interesting to me that Republicans make this case about the FBI, but I thought they were supposed to have respect for the law enforcement community. The last I heard, the FBI were the good guys. Now, I would say this is the reason why Joe Biden...
Hold on, Michael, you know where every Republican goes. Forget whether you're right or not. You know that Lisa Page and Peter Strzok engaged in willful and awful misconduct at the FBI. Okay, and they were only run out after the Mueller investigation. You don't think people have a right to be suspicious after the Hunter Biden disinformation claims?
We know that the FBI has investigated Hillary Clinton. We know that they investigate Democrats. We know that they investigate Republicans. They're apolitical. That's who they're supposed to be. We want them to be impartial. Did we forget the 1990s? My God, come on. It's also fascinating. It's remarkable to me that the president is, if it's true, first of all, the former president has a casual relationship with the truth.
Fair enough.
Let's actually wait until we have a confirmation of what actually happened, either from the government or news sources. But we're only going by what he said. I mean, he's not necessarily a credible source. Secondly, if it's true about documents...
That's an interesting point.
If it's true about documents, my God, I mean, after what he did to Hillary Clinton and emails and classified information, and he had the nerve to walk away with documents from the White House, that is incredible. But your chickens really come home to roost, and it's got to be hysterical for Democrats to just sit and watch this.
Yeah, it's interesting, at least according to a couple of different sources, is that it was not actually the president who first said the FBI raided it. It's sort of where it broke widely, but it had been reported earlier. It's interesting you talk about the classified information in Hillary Clinton's email server, because his statement specifically talks about Hillary Clinton's email server and says, well, she had 33,000 documents that she used BleachBit on. There you go. It does feel like at least telegraphing a little whataboutism that he probably knew about, what this was about.
Probably. He's really good at projecting. They do that quite often. They've done it, like you said, with Hunter Biden and when their own children had conflicts of interests while he was president, while they worked for him, running the family business. So let's be clear. The former president has a major credibility problem. Let's wait until we hear from credible sources about what actually took place.
Yeah,
and if the FBI chooses to tell us what's going on. I don't really know if
oh boy,
you're supposed to discuss an active investigation. I mean, remember, this is why he fired. This is why he fired his first attorney general, because he wasn't acting political.
Yeah, well, at some point, you'd think the pressure on Merrick Garland over the next 24 hours will be building. It'll be interesting. Hey, Michael, we got to run. We got a federal prosecutor on the other side to talk about the search warrant and how it works. We'll be right back. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.